Jesus says, "I will let the world spiral upwards until it reaches the right drop height." "I shall not leave you orphans. I am coming to you." John 14, verse 18. This text again describes the same, what lies before you, and what I always tell you, and what I now confirm again with this new gift, truthfully and in a living manner. I shall not leave you orphans. Instead, as also stated, I remain with you until the end of time, but certainly not in your worldly wisdom and great learnedness, which disgusts me, but rather in the love and humility of your heart. I shall not leave you orphans does not mean I want to provide you with books of all kinds, and, next to that, with prayer houses full of carved images and portraits of me, painted and carved in every possible situation, which belong into the kingdom of paganism. Because any external conception belongs to the world, and prevents the opening of the inner vision, just as the person who does not close his eyes is not able to sleep, and even less will he have a dream during his sleep, which is an internal view of what belongs to the spirit world. Therefore, I do not want to leave you behind as orphans, if I allow it by my approval that you can work out a lot of outer spectacles, which at best relate to me, and at the same time write a great amount of books out of your intellect, in which they will seek for the truth, in the same way as you set your numbers in the lottery, where nobody knows if the number will be picked which he has set, but rather where everybody is setting on luck. And if his number will be picked, he will neither know the reason how and why it happened, and on the contrary, why it did not happen. For everyone thinks that his number is the best. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it anyway. Only the aftermath shows him a different light, namely, that another number was better than his. He certainly will say, "I had that number already on my paper. Why did I choose another one?" So, you see, this example fits exactly the large number of writers. Everyone thinks that he has hit the nail on the head, but it will not be long until another one comes and proves to the first one that he has made a big mistake. And so it goes on, and at the end, the last one knows as little as the first one, if he has hit the nail on the head or not. If one or the other comes across the truth in this or that subject, he still doesn't completely know if he has really found it. The only criteria for him is that he has elicited a general applause from the world for his work. But it does not mean that there needs to be a lot of effort to achieve such an applause. I mean, the way the lottery people do it before the number is picked, so can it also be done with the writings, namely to shuffle everything, so that no one will understand what the writer has actually wanted to say with it. In this way, all criticism remains quiet before such an elaborate piece of work, and thereby the writer has cashed in an applause from the world with his work. Question: is the promised Holy Spirit present in such works? Oh no. Indeed, they are orphans. I'm not with those. The current text does not apply to those. But perhaps it fits the painters, engravers, sculptors, and gilders, which especially have a lot to do with the pictorial illustration of the so-called sacred objects. But if they are paid, they also deliver battle pieces and all sorts of other obscene illustrations. I say, these are orphans as well. The current text has nothing to do with them. But maybe it fits the sermon and prayer book poets, as well as the musical composers for the so-called church music. Oh no, for those the text does not apply, because these too float with the tide, and they do everything for money. The first writes a sublime song, a prayer, a song, which would not even have put David to shame if he had written it, looking at it from an outer perspective. But tomorrow, when he is paid, he writes with the same enthusiasm a sublime poem about the whore of a great one, as well as a sublime epitaph for a deceased lapdog of a princess. The second one, however, composed an oratorio today. However, when he is paid, he also writes a ballet or an even lower dance music. Question: can we see the virtue of the Holy Spirit there? I can't find it, and if I cannot find it, you will find it certainly even less likely. And even if you'd like to find it with lanterns, in which burns a central sun instead of a bad candle. But the Holy Spirit will be present in the wise state laws, in the laws of war, all kinds of regulations, and even in the sharp, manifold ecclesiastical discipline laws. Indeed, I can't find him. Why not? Because I am not in any of those things, but rather the only reason for them are worldly ruler benefits. Everything wants to rule: the emperor and the king, the prince, the count, the baron, the knight, the lord of, the merchant, the citizen, and also the farmer. And down from the emperor, of course, all his officials also, as if they were the personality of the emperor themselves. There must be an emperor, a king, or a prince, but they shall not exist because of the ruling, but rather as guides, so that the nations, by their guidance, would be led to me. But now, more often than not, they are derived from me and turned to the world, and they won't become strong, but rather are only made weak, so that they are even easier to dominate in their weakness. Question: is this the virtue of the Holy Spirit, if the ruler perceives his subjects only as serfs, which his word can destroy at any time should he utter it? The ruler is supposed to be a leader and a comforter for his people, and he shall give them laws which are not of the heathen, but derive only from my laws in an explicable way. Then he would be a just leader, and the Holy Spirit would work with him, just as he has done with David and other worthy rulers. But in the inventions of all kinds of machines, which made all those poor human hands dispensable, in the advancement of the industry, in the construction of railways, and in the formation of large war powers, the Holy Spirit does not operate ever. Because all of this was pretty normal also before the flood of Noah's time, through the force of the worldly spirit, which is the devil in its entirety. It was the same in Sodom, Gomorrah, and Babylon. But who will assert that this had been the work of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, after this conduct, which was running straight contrary to the Holy Spirit, a mighty judgment followed. An equal judgment I have ready right now to show you that my Holy Spirit is not present anywhere in the current conduct of the world. Therefore, the entire world stands there as an orphan. But I will let it spiral upwards for some more time, until it reaches the right drop height, and then a flash of lightning from sunrise to sunset, and it will become apparent in this light how many of the Holy Spirit's virtues are now present in the world. Well, however, if so, where are those which I will not leave behind as orphans? I say, they do exist now and then, but they have become almost more rare and precious as great diamonds. They live a simple life, separated from the world as much as possible, and I am their joy, as well as the subject of their conversations. Why? Because the mouth overflows with whatever the heart is full of. Therefore, I am also the topic which dominates their heart, and everything else in the world is an empty shell to them. These are indeed no orphans, because I am there in the midst of them. I talk to, instruct, and draw them every day. These always hear my voice, and they also recognize that voice as the one of the true shepherd, and not as the one of a hired man, which they do not follow, because it is the voice of a hired man. These are the ones which this current text is meant for. Therefore, I need no scholars, no poets, no creators, and no composers, no machine inventors, and no worldly lawmakers. I only need humble hearts who love me. Wherever I'll find these, I'll add everything else, and for sure in a better way as the world invents it. And then everything will be a virtue of the Holy Spirit, and there won't be any orphans in the world. But there are oh so very few whose ear is receptive to my voice.